Okay, so today we will talk about this amazing looking board, that's tiny board known as Raspberry Pi Pico. Let's start with some specifications of this board. This board has this RP2040 microcontroller designed by Raspberry Pi. You can see this microcontroller, and here it is. This is designed by Raspberry Pi, and this is ARM Cortex-M0 dual core processor. Uh, this is a dual core processor, and this is has a flexible clock speed up to 133 megahertz. Uh, let's compare it to Android Nano in size. You can see this is Android Nano. This is single core and 8-bit microcontroller. It has 32-bit microcontroller with 133 megahertz of its clock speed, while this Nano has 16 megahertz of clock speed. And so if you compare the data flow, it would be 4 times more, even faster compared to the Android, which is based on my 8-bit microcontroller. If we talk about this is 8-bit microcontroller. This has 32-bit microcontroller. The chip has 264 KB of SRAM memory and 2 MB of flash memory, and has the ultra low power sleep modes, which Android doesn't have. And by the way, the board operates on this works on 3.3 volt, not on 5 volt. If you talk about Arduino board, this works on 5 volt, but this can work on 3.3 volt. Okay, so and this Pico board has 40 pins. From this, 26 are multifunctional GPIO ports, and 2 SPI ports. 2 I2C ports. It has 2 I2C ports also, and you can see these could be programmed to be connected at any pin. So this is they are very flexible to program that this thing. So you can connect multiple things, and you have choice to where you can, want to connect your pin at which end. It also has a 2 UART port and 3 ADC port, and this ADC are of 12 bits, which are 4 times faster than the 10 bits ADC of the Arduino. It has 10-bit ADC, and this has 2 UART port and 3 ADC. These ADCs are 12 bits. So this is also an Arduino. This is Arduino Uno, and if you compare by this on the basis of size, you can see how small it is. This Raspberry Pi Pico. You can use C code in Arduino Uno, Nano, and other Arduinos, but you can run a Python code in this. If you hear about MicroPython, you can run a MicroPython code by this, and you can also program this by Thony. Thony is an IDE that using Thony you can program that Raspberry Pi Pico. One more thing, that this IC has an onboard temperature sensor. It has a temperature sensor. So also you can use it for the various purpose. So let's talk about how to install Thony, that is IDE. By using that IDE, will program this Pico board. So let's see first how to install Thony. So all you need to go to the website of Thony, official website, that is thony.org, and you have to look for that Thony IDE. So if you are using a Windows computer, you can download this Windows version of Thony, and just install this Thony. And once it is installed, it will look like this, like a normal programmer, normal IDEs that you use for programming various languages. So here, now the second part is how to configure this editor for MicroPython and this Raspberry Pi Pico. So first we have to connect this Pico with the micro USB pin, and then put this second end to your USB port. So once it is connected, now go to options, and you can see the my phone is already configured for Raspberry Pi Pico, but you have to select in this drop down list. By default you will find this option, and you have to go through this if you are using Raspberry Pi Pico. So go to this thing, and then once you connect this USB to your computer, you will find that COM port. But when you install this first time, you have to first remove this USB cable and push that button for few seconds until you connect this. So it will go to the flash mode, and you will find this thing here. So 127 MB of storage is available. Once you find this thing, you can configure this by using install or update firmware. This thing you have to do for only one time. If you just install this, once you install, your Raspberry Pi will be configured. And now, how to program this? So for programming, so here is a sample code for LED blinking. So you can use this code. For this, again remove that USB cable and again connect this with your computer without pressing that flash button. So it will start in the Raspberry Pi Pico start in programming mode. So once you write this code, and then you have to click on save as. So this prompt will be available. So you have the choice where you want to save this Python code. So I will select Raspberry Pi Pico, and you can see the library or the directory of Raspberry Pi Pico memory where various programs are available. Okay, so just write your program name, whatever. I have already written this program in Raspberry Pi Pico, and then save it. Okay, once you put this program and then run, as you can see that LED light will start blinking. So it was the code to blink the LED light, that default LED light which has inbuilt in Raspberry Pi Pico. So this is the basic fundamental way to connect, how to configure and connect Raspberry Pi Pico. So if you want to program your code in MicroPython and you want to use sensors, motors and various other things that you use with Arduino or Arduino Nano, Arduino Uno or a Node MCU, and you can use Python code. You can do all these things using the Python code, but here you will get many libraries that is available in Python. So you can widely use these things, which is limited to Arduino since it uses C, and as you can see this working perfectly, and it has low voltage consumption and very small in size. So this is all about Raspberry Pi Pico. I hope you enjoyed this things. In our further video, in our more upcoming videos, we will see more of this smart board. Thank you for watching.